Hi friends, this is CA Surojit Ray here. This is an earnest call from me to all my fellow Indians to rise to the occasion and kickstart Swadeshi Movement version 2. We have all heard about the Swadeshi movement which Gandhiji had led against foreign manufactured goods several years back. We attained independence from the British in 1947. Now it is the time to attain independence from the Chinese. Let us mark 2020 as the year when India and the whole world at large chucked China and brought it down to its knees. Most of you would have seen Sonam Wangchuk's YouTube video a few days back, where he called all Indians to stand up against China and reject Chinese goods, services, and softwares. I second his call. We were not lucky enough to join Gandhiji in the first Swadeshi movement. Now is our chance to do our bit for our country. Let us flag off Swadeshi movement version 2 in the wake of the self-reliance or Atmanirbhar principle propagated by our honourable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Friends, we have had enough of China and its commercial tyranny. The whole world sees them today as a nation which can stoop to any levels to proclaim their supremacy. The coronavirus, and I shall call it the China virus hereafter, has brought the world to its knees, with lakhs already dead across the globe and many more yet to die. For sure, the world shall not forgive China for this. The world has moved behind by at least 10 years thanks to this horrific pandemic gifted to all by China. This shameless country has then blocked all social media channels as also YouTube and other global media platforms so that they can destroy all possible evidence against them and muzzle the voices of those who want to rise and expose them. China did not heed to the warnings of its own people who had warned in advance about the nature of this virus. Well, was this all intentional? Was this a planned conspiracy? Was this a biowar fought by China to screw the global economy and seek revenge from the US? Or was this just a natural phenomenon too large for China to arrest within the borders of its country? Well, I see these as rhetoric questions with obvious answers rather than they being questions which are yet to be conclusively answered. Enough is enough. We don't care a damn for China anymore. Why do we continue to be dependent on this country? As a country, India can and does manufacture all that we need. So no more patronage for China by Indians hereafter. Remembering Gandhiji and his ideals, let us embark upon Swadeshi movement version 2. Let us start this by deleting all Chinese apps from our phones if we have not already done so. Let us delete TikTok right away from our phones. Like they banned YouTube in China, let us, the citizens of India, ban this damn shit called TikTok. Whenever you buy anything hereafter, shun all those products which say made in China. Look out for made in India products. Indian products may be a shade costlier, but they are several times better in quality than those cheap Chinese products. Some of the regular Chinese brands that we were using and which should now become history in our lives are Lenovo, Oppo, Xiaomi, Hair, Huawei, Honor, Alibaba, TCL, OnePlus, ZTE and Vivo. Also, when you buy brands like Sony or Samsung or LG, first do check their country of manufacture. If you find that it is made in China, go for something else which is not made in China. Let us get this into our DNA now. Let us no longer be brand centric. Let us now become not made in China centric. Once larger brands realize that they are losing market share by manufacturing in China, they will have no choice but to move out their manufacturing operations from China. You may be wondering at this juncture, will all this really help? Because I'm just too small a contributor to make an impact individually. Sorry, you are mistaken. Please do not underestimate your power as an Indian and as a consumer. 1.3 billion Indians have the potential to disrupt just about anything and everything in this world. Can you believe that India imported goods worth approximately 75 billion US dollars from China in 2019? This figure in Indian rupees translates to roughly rupees 5.6 lakh crores. This number pertains only to import of goods, mind it. Software and services imported from China would be a similar number, or possibly much larger too. Even if we peg the total amount of India's imports from China, goods, services and software all put together at a consolidated figure of approximately rupees 12 lakh crores per annum, can you imagine how this figure of rupees 12 lakh crores per annum will impact India's GDP and employment figures if this whole amount stays back in India because of local Indian sourcing going forward as opposed to being gifted every year to China? And what does China do with our rupees 12 lakh crores every year? It strengthens its army. It builds roads to Pakistan from China. It buys bullets to use against our Indian soldiers. So, do we really want to help them with our money hereafter? It is for you to decide now. And these numbers were just India's imports from China. If 3 or 4 more countries follow us in complete boycott of China, and if some of their current China sourcing moves to India, imagine where India will stand thereafter. In fact, if US citizens were to follow India in the boycott of China, China will be whitewashed overnight. Can you believe that US imports from China are approximately US dollars 419 billion per annum, which is 5.5 times of India's imports from China. The China boycott has to start somewhere, and it starts with you and me. So do not ever again feel that your individual efforts cannot make an impact. I would also urge MODIJI to pass a law immediately to the effect that the packaging of every product sold in India hereafter, right from something as basic as a loaf of bread to an aircraft, should have the country of manufacture printed on it in a conspicuous manner. The country of manufacture should also be embossed on the product. So every time we see the Made in India mark on the product, we will be reminded of our goal and shall feel proud to have supported the cause of our country. Getting this law in place is not a big deal if MODIJI wants it to happen. What I shared till now is what all we could do as individual soldiers fighting for India's cause. And I'm sure each one of us will definitely do that. Yes, we shall shun Chinese products, softwares and apps hereafter and replace them with India-made stuff. Now, let us look at what the Indian government has to do so that we can come out strong and build a win-win situation out of this pandemic for our country and for the people at large. The world is determined to teach China a lesson this time. In fact, several European and US companies have already started moving out their manufacturing operations from China. Many others are retaining their China setup but want to build an alternate supply chain in some other country. Vietnam, Taiwan, Philippines, and some South American countries appear as attractive alternative manufacturing hubs to these companies moving out from China. India is also somewhere in the race, but honestly looked at, it is much behind most others. Most MNCs are still skeptical about setting up operations in India owing to several factors such as tax terrorism, corruption, harassment, too many tax compliances in India, cumbersome and long drawn litigation process, too many approvals and registrations to do business in India, lack of an efficient single window clearance scheme for foreign companies to set up operations in India, and very high tax cost of repatriating profits from India to the parent company. So, this is now a larger issue, a perception issue, so to say, more than anything else, and hence lame assurances or mere lip service by the Indian government will not get those existing companies who are manufacturing in China to move into India. We need to smell the coffee here. If MODIJI is really keen to get a chunk of the outgoing investments from China into India, he will have to immediately change the perception the world has about India as a jurisdiction. This can be achieved overnight only by coming out with a holistic and well-crafted program to move manufacturing companies from China to India, maybe titled as something like "Welcome to India, the ultimate manufacturing destination." A tagline, a logo, a brand name is very important here to lure foreign investors. This program will have to offer a series of administrative, commercial, and tax benefits to incoming foreign companies, and these benefits will have to be like never before. The Indian government will have to show true eagle-like intent here if it wants to snatch a piece of the pie. Mere lip service and academic paper schemes will attract only very limited FDI into India at this juncture. By FDI, I mean foreign direct investments. I had tried to share some realistic, result-oriented and practical steps in this direction with our Honourable Prime Minister MODIJI a few weeks back through a letter posted on his official website. I am yet to hear from him on it. Some of these suggestions are listed on the screen for you to read. You can glance through them. These broadly include steps like setting up a single window clearance scheme immediately for all FDI investment proposals coming into India hereafter and granting them all necessary permissions and approvals within 2 weeks flat. Setting up a dedicated government department to assist such proposals and outsourcing this department to the private sector. Giving a host of tax benefits to the manufacturing entrants into India, including an income tax holiday for 4 to 5 years and a lower GST rate, offering visa relaxations for countries giving us big FDI in the coming months, developing the logistics sector in India rapidly by attracting FDI into it, giving land at reasonable rates to all manufacturing entrants, giving robust IPR security to the manufacturing entrants so as to prevent local piracy of their technology coming into India, developing solar plants under public-private partnership along the coastline and desert belt in India, making imports into and exports from India cheaper by reducing duties strategically, setting up a government-managed portal for employment, and helping the foreign companies investing into India to repatriate profits from India in a tax-efficient manner. These actions will have to be quick, bold, liberal, and result-oriented. They will have to be undertaken with that cutthroat intent of getting in as many foreign companies into India as possible. Mere lip service or window dressing here would mean we fooling ourselves more than anything else. It's not going to help. We will have to take action-oriented steps quickly over here to be successful. I do not know whether MODIJI saw my earlier letter or not. Hope at least this video reaches him and he sees this sooner than later. I pray that the Indian government recognizes this huge opportunity. Honestly looked at, I personally see this as the opportunity of the century for India. We had a similar opportunity in the last century in 1991. We have it again after 29 years. If a common man like me could sense it, I'm sure the leadership of this country also senses it. As ardent citizens of our country, let us do our bit right away. Let us start boycotting all made in China goods, services, softwares and apps hereafter. Let us try and be Atmanirbhar hereafter, as Modiji said. Let us promote made in India goods. The Indian industries which have accepted defeat in front of China shall revive and flourish once again only if we start buying goods manufactured by them. Let us be a soldier for our country in this Swadeshi movement version 2. And if you have any doubts in your mind, just close your eyes for once and remember the lakhs of people who have lost their lives to the China virus alias coronavirus. If you still feel you want to continue patronizing Chinese products, all the very best to you. Also, if you are watching this video in a made in China mobile, ensure that this is the last made in China mobile you purchased in your life. Let us pressurize Apple, Samsung, Sony and all other giants to move out of China by boycotting all made in China products. Do not underestimate your power as an Indian, as a consumer. We made China someday by purchasing their goods. We can finish them off today by boycotting their goods too. Delete TikTok right away. Delete China apps right away. Shun this country completely out of your life. Let them pay a price finally for the lakhs of lives lost and the loss of livelihood across the globe due to this damn China virus. They deserve it. Let us all show them their place. No more made in China in your life hereafter. Friends, I am a humble chartered accountant who's currently thinking as much about India and making China pay a price for its sins as much as all of you. Let us make this video reach Modiji. India needs bold, quick and never like before steps at this juncture if it has to attract the foreign companies who now want to move out of China. This show of intent has to be really aggressive and forthcoming from India's side. Only a bold leader like Modiji can make this happen. Hope he listens to this video. As I close this, I want you to keep your hand on your heart and take a vow with me. Yes, please keep your hand on your heart and repeat after me. To hell with products made in China. Yes, I want you to repeat this. To hell with products made in China. Hereafter, I shall only use products made in India. Repeat. Hereafter, I shall only use products made in India. Jai Hind, Jai Swadeshi Movement version 2. Thank you so much.